for the win. Got it! Luke May!
How about them Tar Heels? They are the national champions.
We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. It's the Rapid Reactions edition as Carolina holds on to beat Wake Forest in the Smith Center 87-84. It is the 500th win in the Smith Center for Carolina basketball. Jones and Adam here with you, and we are presented, of course, by our friends at Modelo. Adam, you look down here, and it says 0 lead changes, times tied 1, time with lead 38 minutes and 56 seconds for North Carolina, 0 minutes for Wake Forest. That doesn't really explain the level of tension down the stretch in this one. Carolina led by 15 multiple times in this game, including with about 10 minutes to go in the second half, then went more than 6 minutes without a field goal. That allowed Wake Forest to kind of chip away, and get it to as low as a 1-point game in the final minutes. Carolina needed some free throws, 1 or 2 defensive stops, not many, but 1 or 2, and did enough to win this game 87-84.
Yeah, those stats that you cited about the lead changes, that feels like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But then those last 10 minutes got very tense, partially because Wake Forest was making some very difficult shots, partly because the Tar Heels were not doing enough to put the game away, and, boy, had to hang on to get a win that they had to have.
We'll talk about some of the good in a moment, but this was a week that Carolina, a lot of defensive talk, a lot of defensive work for Carolina, and you could see it right at the beginning of the game. Carolina's defensive effort was furious. There was a lot of activity, some changing of the defenses, some trapping, and it flustered Wake Forest. Wake had 5 turnovers in the first 4 minutes, I believe. But after that, the Deeks kind of settled in. Carolina didn't have as much effectiveness defensively. And yet again, you see an opposition's backcourt have big days. Juke Harris scores 28 points on 10 of 18 shooting, 5 of 12 from 3, 3 of 4 at the free throw line. Nate Calmise has 28 points and 9 assists, the opposing team's point guard. He goes 10 of 16, 7 of 11 from 3, 1 of 2 at the free throw line. He had 22 of his 28 points in the second half. So some good and some not as good defensively for Carolina.
Some of those Harris and Calmise shots were ridiculous. But the Tar Heels kind of let Harris get started in the first half with some open ones that enabled him to get on track for a good day, gave him a little confidence, and then Calmise did it in the second half. Opposing point guards dictating the flow of the game is something that Carolina is going to have to get a handle on, because we saw it against Michigan State. We, of course, saw it against SMU, and we saw it in the second half today.
All right, so let's focus in on some of the good things for Carolina, because the Tar Heels really controlled this game for 30 minutes. And the first half, a lot of Caleb Wilson. Adam, he was really, really good in that first half. 7 of 7 from the floor in half number 1. He finished with the first half with 17 points and 9 rebounds. Wake really paid extra attention to him in the second half, but he was dominating in half number 1.
And just, it felt like was doing whatever he wanted. He was making plays on the defensive end like there that enabled Carolina to get out and run in transition, and then he just decided, I'll just do this thing myself. You see, it looks like he's having fun because he's doing whatever he wants. Everything was right around the rim. He just made it look so easy that there were no signs that it was going to slow down as much as it did in the second half, but it did. Carolina had trouble getting him the ball and getting him on track in that same way in the final 20 minutes.
The good news for Carolina is that Henry Vesar, who played well in the first half too, really stepped up his game in half number 2. He finishes with a team-high 25 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a big block in there as well for Vesar. And so his second half kind of made up for the fact that Caleb Wilson wasn't having as much success in half number 2.
Well, and that, as we've said all year long, it's such a luxury to have 2 big guys who do that. You see the three-pointers. He was 2 of 3 from 3. He and Jaden Young really the entire Carolina outside offensive output. But, of course, Vesar normally doing it near the rim. And that block near the end of the game, I mean, that could have been the game. Vesar's block and Trimble's block were 2 huge plays in what ended up being a 3-point game.
You mentioned Jaydon Young, who, by the way, you're going to see Adam talk to in just a minute. I talked to Coach Davis. You'll see both of those interviews. Jaydon Young, most points as a Tar Heel in the most minutes that he's played as a Tar Heel. 19 and a half minutes, 12 total points, 4 of 6 from the field, including 3 made three-pointers. But in this game, you felt like Carolina was better when Jaydon Young was on the floor.
And what a fitting day for him to do it. I mean, he's a guy who came to the Smith Center and watched games as a fan growing up. And so for him to be the one who came off the bench and had such an important offensive output on a day Carolina needed that offensive output in the backcourt, just very fitting. So good to see him, and you'll hear more from him, and it's better coming from him than from me. But just the way he's persevered this year, because there were times he wasn't playing as much as he wanted, and has gotten himself to the point where he's a key part of the rotation.
All right, so let's hear from Jaydon Young. First, we're going to hear from Hubert Davis. I'll talk to Coach Davis. Adam will talk to Jaydon Young. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the end of the game, and then I'll look forward to the Heels heading out west. But first, let's hear those interviews with Hubert Davis, Jaydon Young, here on a Rapid Reactions edition of the Carolina Insider. Here with the head coach of the Tar Heels after Carolina holds on against Wake Forest today, 87-84. Coach, your team never trailed in this game and led by as many as 15, but Wake makes a big push there at the end to make it very tight in the final few minutes. Your thoughts as your team gets the big win, 87-84?
Well, I mean, first of all, Wake Forest is a really good basketball team. We spoke before the game, and, their season, I mean, they've almost beat Texas Tech, almost beat Michigan. Yep. I mean, it's a team that extremely talented all over the place, but in particularly their guards, their ability to be able to get to the paint, drive and kick, knock down threes. Defensively, they don't have a lot of size, but they have athleticism where they can do a number of different things in order to protect the paint. And, every time you get a win, and especially every time you get a win in conference, you have to be excited and celebrate that. And that's what I told the guys after the game. But obviously there's some things that we got to continue to get better and work on.
You focused on defense a lot this week.
Yep.
Came out and looked really good defensively. Wake then does end up shooting 53% in the second half, makes 14 three-pointers. Kind of your thoughts on the defense in total tonight?
Yeah, I felt like in the first half where our defense struggled was in transition. Even after made baskets, not getting picked up, not sprinting back, not locating a man and getting matched up. Half-court defense was really good for us. Then I felt like in the second half, our ball screen defense was just so far off the ball. He was able to get some rhythm, shoot the ball. And so, Juke Harris is one of the better scorers in the conference. And then, they get another guy that's hot. It made it really difficult for us. And but again, when plays needed to be made, we made it, whether it's one free throw or got the ball in out of bounds underneath, full court. Called timeouts when we needed to. We executed and was able to get a great win against a good Wake Forest team.
Big minutes from Jaydon Young today. Makes 3 threes, scores 12 points, played nearly 20 minutes in the game. He felt important tonight.
Oh, it was huge. I mean, we don't win the game without him. One of the things I tell the guys is when, not if, when your number is called. I can't tell you when it is, where, the manner in which your number is going to be called. But when your number is called, your job and responsibility is to be able to step up, and there's no better example of that of Jaydon Young. I called his number more than I have all year, and he responded on both ends of the floor. Offensively, taking good shots, knocking down shots from three, made a free throw for us, and just defensively, his toughness and physicality was a huge factor in us getting stops when we needed.
Just a couple more things. Caleb finished with 22 and 12, but he had 17 and 9 at halftime. Did they do something different in the second half that slowed his production in your mind?
Yeah, they had all 5 guys on him. At the end of the day, we're going to have to make shots from the outside. It just is what it is. And so when they put 2 or 3 guys on Henry and on Caleb, we have to make teams pay. And that's something that we've got to get better at and more consistent, because we're going to see that moving forward. And that's something that's just going to be huge for us from an offensive standpoint.
Coach, this is win number 500 for the Carolina basketball program in the Smith Center. It's the building where you played your Carolina career as well. Just your thoughts on getting to a nice even number here in the Smith Center tonight.
Yeah, somebody asked me a question in the press conference yesterday in regards to, possibly having 500 wins in this building And I would say that my comments are consistent with every other former players. It's more than 500 wins. It's not about the wins. It's not about, and it's what I told the team before the game. I said that you have to find joy and enjoyment of how hard it is to be successful individually and as a team. I said, a lot of people think you find that joy and enjoyment by focusing or getting to the destination. That's not it. It's focusing on the journey. And so you mentioned 500 wins. I don't know any stats from them. I can't name all the stats from this game, but you talk about the experiences, the conversations, the relationships, the friendships that have happened at this place. Those are the things that are so special to us as former players and what's so special about this place.
Win number 500 wasn't easy. Carolina gets it, though, 87-84 over Wake Forest today in at the Smith Center. Coach, congratulations on the win, and look forward to seeing you on the West Coast here this upcoming week.
All right, see you soon.
Guys, that's Hubert Davis after Carolina wins at 87-84.
Carolina hangs on, beats Wake Forest. Jaydon Young, 12 huge points off the bench in the victory. Jaden, things got tight there in the second half. What did you see that enabled the game to tighten up, and then how were you able to persevere and get the win?
I saw normal ACC play. Everybody's talented. Everybody wants to win. So definitely competing, trying to fight back into the game. That's what it's all about. Made it a little more fun. So I think we stuck together as a team. We definitely fought back and obviously got the win. So.
They had two players who were so hot from three. When you have opponents like that who are just making some crazy shots, one that was banked in, that one from the corner, what can you do defensively to try to slow that down?
It's half on us. We got to do a little more just to not let them get in that rhythm. But when they do, it's kind of tough when you're making shots falling down in the corner. But definitely starts with us. We got to start getting stops, and then we let them get going early. So I guess that just got them in their flow or whatever. But we'll know next game. The main guys definitely can't get rolling a little earlier. So,
for you individually with those 12 points, you've kind of steadily been coming along, and then today even more. What have you been doing well that Coach Davis has been trusting you more and more as we get into ACC play?
I feel like I've been in this position before. Not a freshman anymore, so I kind of know how to handle it. Just coming to practice every day, giving 110%, being confident in myself, and then knowing my name's going to be called one way or the other. Faith, really. Just waiting on God.
How did you handle it? Because I'm guessing you weren't playing as much as you wanted to and felt like you could contribute some more to the team. When that's happening and you're not seeing the results in games, what do you do?
Turn into practice. For a lot of guys, basketball is like a release or something for them to go to, and that's definitely what it is for me. So just coming to practice every day, that was my release. So sitting on the bench and clapping for my teammates wasn't as hard when you got a positive attitude about it. So really just waiting my turn, cheering for everybody while it was theirs. Still could be. Really just believing in myself, to be honest.
Tar Heels are looking for somebody to pair with Seth out there. What have you learned about how to play with him to take advantage of some of the opportunities that his style of play creates?
Seth definitely attracts a lot of attention just because he can get downhill, he can shoot it, and he's one of the fastest players I've ever been on the team with. So if you don't pack the paint in, he's going to get to the basket every single time. And then when you do that, obviously wide open kicks to shooters. And then really just playing with all those good guys out there like Henry and Caleb, they take a lot of attention. So a lot of guys aren't really worried about that fourth, fifth, sixth option. And that's where you can step in. So that's what I try to do tonight.
Coach Davis talked a lot about this past week being an opportunity to work on yourselves. Where do you feel like Carolina got better this week that'll be beneficial going into the rest of the league?
I think coming off of that loss, I think everybody was a little more locked in, a little more focused on the details that coach is always battling us with. So just coming into the game with a little chip on our shoulders, knowing that we want to win the conference. So want to win the whole thing, honestly. So just keeping that in the mind, forefront of our minds, and then just playing as hard as we possibly can.
For you, we've seen you make shots, three-pointers tonight. Right. What's the next step for Jaden Young?
Help my team win games. If that's diving on the floor, making shots, getting to the basket, whatever they need me to do, sitting on the bench, it's all good as long as we win it. So that's what Carolina fans can get from me.
Speaking of Carolina fans, 500 wins in the Smith Center. You're a guy who's been around the ACC. What's a sold-out Saturday Smith Center like?
Man, it's definitely different from being on the court than in the stands. But once you get out there, you kind of get the jitters out, kind of goes away. It's all basketball at the end of the day. So, but definitely seeing all these people in there running out of the tunnel, just looking up in the crowd and thinking like, okay, I'm about to play in front of all these people. It's definitely a good feeling, and they supporting you 110%, of course. So that makes it even better.
And even better when the Tar Heels win, as they did today, largely because of this guy. Jaydon Young scores 12, Carolina wins. Jaden, thank you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
So, again, the Tar Heels hold on to win at 87-84. And, Adam, worth mentioning, the Tar Heels did enough down the stretch, whether that was a big play by Seth Trimble defensively where he had a steal and a run out for a dunk where Carolina needed to try and get a little bit of offense. Carolina did enough at the free throw line. They weren't lights out, but hit some big ones, including Jaron Stevenson a couple late. So did enough down the stretch after Wake had made a push.
I think probably what Hubert Davis would say after he said that you have to celebrate every win, which he said with you, is that enough is probably not enough. Like if you want to get where Carolina wants to go this year, this is a game that you put away, not that you kind of scrape by at the end. Now, you did have two opponents who were on fire, but now that's two opponents in the last two games that have been on fire, so there's a common thread there. So it is enough, but I think there's got to be a little more, and if this game had been on the road, I do think the crowd made a difference. So the Tar Heels had some things in their favor in this one that they won't have in some other ones.
You're seeing Trimble hit a couple big ones. These were two big ones from Jaron Stevenson. This is after Wake had made yet another wild three to cut it to one. Stevenson makes these pair to make it three, although then Adam, Carolina did not foul. Up three with 5 seconds to go, and it was a long three-pointer by Nate Calmise, but it was a clean look. It just didn't go.
And he was not the one you wanted shooting it at that moment in time. It didn't feel great.
But it all adds up to a win for the Heels, 87-84. So, Adam, quickly now the Heels look to the West Coast. This is going to be a big trip for Carolina. They leave on Monday. They play Stanford on Wednesday, stay on the West Coast, play Cal on Saturday. I think in total the Tar Heels have been a better team than Stanford or Cal this year, but both those teams are improved. They both have some really dynamic individual scorers. And it's a long way for Carolina to go and a long time to be out there. So how the Heels manage it, just not many ACC teams have headed out to the West Coast since Stanford and Cal joined the league and won them both. It has happened, but not a lot.
Last year, I think only Wake.
It's either Wake or Georgia Tech. One of them did, yeah.
Was able to do it. So good teams have gone out there and felt like they are better than those two teams. And for whatever reason, and I think part of it is that we talk about it a lot, they're not able to pull off the two wins on the West Coast. The Tar Heels need those two wins.
So first opportunity will be Wednesday. It is a 9 o'clock Eastern time start against Stanford. We'll be on the radio for that one at 8 p.m. But for tonight, Carolina gets the win over Wake Forest. 87-84, 500th win in the Smith Center in front of a sold-out crowd. So pretty cool stuff for Carolina to get the win at home tonight. Heels win it by 3, and this has been another edition of the Rapid Reactions Carolina Insider, presented by Modelo.
Jordan, look at that!
May for the win. Got it! Luke May!
How about them Tar Heels? They are the national champions.